Wednesday, the 4th of September, but technically the 3rd market session for the week. Hello, everyone. I am Hussein Mofai, your Frontier Opening Bell. That takes off right now with the Nigerian market, 0.08% positive yesterday. The oil and gas actually lifted the market. Owando had the largest turnover by value yesterday, traded on the exchange. Access Core had the biggest turnover by volume. So that's the market day. Eternal Oil joined the window to lift that sector 0.7%. The banking sector, the insurance, industrial goods, and consumer goods were largely negative. So we'll give it to the oil sector on the day that Dangote Refinery released the first shipment of petrol products into the market. A historic day for Nigeria was Tuesday, September the 3rd. But let's move on. The BRVM in Côte d'Ivoire was better by 0.84%, taking the composite higher to 253.79. The Egyptian market started a little bit nicely positive on Sunday, but started weakening over the last two sessions, Monday, Tuesday, 0.55% on the EGX30 to the downside, still holding the 30,000 level. However, the NSE, that's the Nairobi market, up by 0.8%, 104.50 on the oil share index. The GSE fell 0.32% as we saw billions and billions of dollars wiped off global markets. Yesterday is all tentative start to the month of September. Concerns about the state of the U.S. economy, a likely recession coming. No one is sure. There are bets around the table as to how the U.S. FOMC will cut interest rates later this month, just in about 2 weeks from now or less. That's all in play as we start Wednesday. To start the week, a bit of a divey one for the global markets, and that rubbed off negatively on the Johannesburg stock market as well as the Zimbabwe stock market, down more than 1% on Tuesday. So let's take it off the table and look at the rest of the African headline stories. The Bank of Tanzania, that's the central bank, has granted licenses to hotels to operate forest bureau operations, activities. The whole idea was to ensure that visitors and tourists who come into hotels in Tanzania can do transactions within those hotels, and that makes it a lot easier for them to spend more money and all of that. That is the New Horizon licensing hotels to do FX bureau operations. Tanzania and Brazil are looking at bilateral relations that's now around 74.8 million US dollars. In Rwanda, the country's airline, Rwanda Air, is posting a decent 80% revenue growth in its full year for 2023. Congratulations. Rwanda Air has also bought a couple of new aircraft to join its fleet. You can see all of that good play Rwanda is making there in the region. In the meantime, Kenya Breweries pumped about 3 million shillings into Driftwood Sevens. That's a part of a small business trying to get that and get that product and that part of the business up and running. In the meantime, the African Energy Chamber has hit back at the U.S. climate group of activists asking for stoppage of the Uganda's $5 billion East African oil pipeline. The African Energy Chamber, the advocacy group based in Johannesburg, says it is wrong and is taking on this U.S.-based activists that are looking to stop the Uganda's oil pipeline, says it will deepen energy poverty in Uganda and the entire East African region. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni is bent on making the pipeline a dream come true. In the meantime, Uganda is also drilling fast and furious, as it were, for oil in that country, and of course the benefits of that. So concerns about environment and all of that the climate activists are asking the authorities there to keep a permanent eye on. It's all developing story as we speak. But let's move on. Of course, one story coming this morning also was that the President Ruto has signed on Kenya as a key member of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. That's the AIIB. Now Kenya has become a paid sovereign member of that organization, Development Bank, the DFI, of course, by the way, the biggest within the East African, also within the Asian corridor. That's the story. Let's move on. What's making the big splash in West Africa? Nigeria's Dangote Refinery taking off, turn on the tap, as it were, to roll out the first petrol shipment. That happened yesterday. Nigeria's billionaire investor and businessman, Femi Otedola, who himself was a billionaire diesel importer into Nigeria years ago, congratulated Aliko Dangote and says the new refinery has liberated Nigeria from both foreign and local interests that's making fuel, local production of petrol, diesel, kerosene, and a few other associated products difficult for Nigeria. So it's a new day, a new dawn for Nigeria. In the meantime, today, the Central Bank of Nigeria will be selling 3 dated treasuries, totaling about 230 billion naira. We'll see what the yields will look like and subscription at the end of today. We'll report that for you tomorrow. The CIF is granting Mali $11 million as part of the underfunded emergencies window for the West African economy. In Ghana, the electricity companies started replacement of about 250,000 meters for consumers in the country, just to make sure everyone get what it is. It's okay to measure the electricity they use. In Liberia, the central bank has lowered interest rate, the policy rate is 17.5%. That's the latest interest rate decision on the continent. Let's move to Southern Africa. Of course, President Cyril Ramaphosa, delivering a keynote address at the China-Africa Cooperation Summit taking place in Beijing. That's on tap. While Harmony Gold in earnings reporting headline earnings per share jumping by 131.6%. That's about 18.52 rand per share. And that's a big news for these gold miner because gold prices we've seen around $2,500, and few notches above that, and high output also higher for Harmony Gold. ShopRite in South Africa, listed on the GSE, is looking to sell its entire home furniture business to Pepco, while South Africa's GDP went up in the second quarter 0.4% amid power and manufacturing boosts. And Broken Hill Proprietary has pulled the plug on Zimbabwe's largest PGM ore body because losses being recorded. And finally, in that region, Rio Zim has lost his battle with Defense Ministry over 200 mine claims against the company. Take it to the Northern Corridor, and let's see what's making the big headlines this Wednesday, the third day of the market, with Egypt engineering exports surged roughly 30% in the first 7 months of this year, while the country's minister in charge of electricity is discussing collaboration with the World Bank to support Egypt with gas supplies. Very tough, nail-biting for Egypt. Saudi Arabia and Libya supplying, at least giving Egypt about $200 million and get more gas supplies into the country to support electricity provisions. In Morocco, the automotive export surges 8.5% in the first quarter, January to March, while Libya's central banker has seen a deal on the table to restore oil flows. That's, of course, those discussions yesterday pulled oil prices back sharply, around 4% decline on the price of the US WTI as well as the London Brent crude. Those are some of the headlines right now. Of course, there are a lot of more issues with everyone concerned about OPEC output coming back in October. And of course, the Chinese manufacturing data showing some weakness in the month of August. Those are your headlines this Wednesday. Let's get together tomorrow to continue from here. That's your Frontier Opening Bell. I am Bosun number 5. Bye for now.